What's up, guys? Welcome back to the table. We are here today with Ignacio and Jolie. Creed was not able to make it because he has prior commitments as a firefighter, so he's a little bit busy right now. But it's alright, he'll be back next week. Don't worry, don't miss him too much. We got a great guest today. We're going to hear about her story. Sorry being on so long. We got to make sure everything's good with COVID, with the whole crew. We got to make sure we can celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and everyone's being safe. You guys feel safe here?
Yeah.
We have a very safe environment over here. But we're feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling good. We're glad to be back. And we'll have another episode out next Tuesday, next Thursday. We got a cool guest coming on. We'll be talking about Christianity and culture, so that'll be dope. Today, we got Jolie, so it's going to be dope. I'm Kobe.
I'm Ignacio.
I'm Jolie.
And you're watching Beyond the Table.
All right. Said mahogany balls, but it's mahogany balsam.
Mahogany ball sack. Alright, we're back. So let's talk about your story, Jolie. I think a good amount of people watching probably know you, whether they're from your way of bringing people in to watch this or they're from Capo or wherever. A lot of people know, but a lot of people I'm sure don't know. So why don't you tell them just a little bit about why you're here? Because as I said before, you have to be someone to be on this show. So who are you?
Well, my name is Jolie Robinson.
Yeah.
Joe Rob.
Joe Rob.
I was born and raised Mission Viejo, California. Went to Capistrano Valley High School, graduated 2019 with you guys, of course. And started playing volleyball when I was in like 6th grade, and I always loved it. And then I started running track freshman year of high school, and I was like, I'm just going to do it for fun. But
yeah,
it kind of like took off. Like I always thought maybe I'll go to college for volleyball because I started getting good at that. But then track kind of.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
5'9", that's pretty
Which
tall
isn't-
for a girl. I mean, it's like taller.
But in the volleyball community,
Yeah.
it's a little, especially in California, it's competitive.
Yeah,
People are,
yeah.
like girls are like 6 foot over.
And you were playing
So-
middle a lot.
Yeah, I was middle and
Yeah.
I transferred out.
She got hops though, so it was alright.
I mean, that was your thing in track, right? The long
Yeah, I
jumps
did
and-
long jump, high jump, and triple jump.
Nice.
So, so just over the years, kind of like growing up, I just did sports. Like at first, I was more crafty, like a shy kind of kid, and then once I started doing sports, I broke out of my shell, more competitive and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely like helped me doing that, and I loved doing it. So then I did very well in track. Like I broke some records at school and stuff like that. So getting looks from colleges and everything, and it was just like a super cool experience. And I was just like, when I was talking to colleges, I was like, this is gonna be my life, this is cool. I was like, I was excited. And then some turn of events. The end of end of my senior year, like as soon as everything started going really well, and I was like, I'm talking to these colleges I really like, something just felt kind of off, and I found out I was pregnant. So, and that was during track season, so it was a little tough for me, I guess. But I couldn't really tell anyone either because I didn't know what would happen. I didn't comprehend it myself.
Yeah.
So I think a hard part about it was not being able to tell people. Like I had like 2 friends who knew, but other than that, everyone's just like, "What's up with Jolie? Like, why is she acting all
like
weird?"
physically, you were like also showing like a little sickness or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
I had a pretty like easy first trimester, like first 3 months. And I was still running track during that time, breaking records during that
so
time.
you broke records
Yeah,
while you were pregnant.
I broke 2 out of my 3 while I was pregnant.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. So, but I kind of like, I knew when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, this might be my last time competing. So I was like, I'm gonna make the most of this.
Extra drive to like
Yeah.
go hard.
So I was like, I was exhausted, everything, but I was like asking the coaches like, so what are the records for like these events? And they would tell me, and I'm like, all right, I can do that. I'm like, I can do it now instead of when I'm a little farther along, but.
But they didn't know that you were
No, they didn't know.
So you're just like, okay, fuck, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah. So, but so that was tough, I guess, but it was fun. It was like knowing, because now I get to tell my son, like, I broke records with you in my stomach. Like,
yeah.
no excuses. Come on.
So So just to be clear, you did not end up being able to go to
No.
colleges and play your
Mm-mm.
sports.
So I was verbally committed to Northern Arizona University.
Yeah.
And when I committed, I knew I was pregnant, but my parents didn't know yet. No one really knew, so I kind of had to.
Dude.
I had to act like
everything was
everything's
normal.
fine, yeah, because I just wasn't ready. It's like a big thing to tell someone that, like especially at my age, like this isn't the normal time. This is supposed to happen. So
I think coaches would maybe think twice.
Yeah.
If you said you were pregnant.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of like, just hesitant to say anything. So
Jesus.
I committed, and everyone, oh, congrats, and like people were just like, why aren't you don't seem very excited? And I was like, but like.
Because you knew
inside,
it wasn't
inside, I'm like,
maybe not gonna happen.
There's more going on.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I still remember when you told everyone made news to the senior confessions.
Yeah.
And I was on Twitter, and I see all these. There's some crazy ones, and then all of a sudden I see an ultrasound, and I see Jolie Robinson.
I remember that.
And she's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, no way. Like this
how?
has to be this has to be a joke. Like she was still doing sports and everything, and I remember you being committed, and then everyone was like, no, like it's real. And I was like, what?
No, even like my friends like didn't believe me because like I only told like very.
You had a handful of people that really knew.
I remember senior confessions were so weird because like, for some reason a bunch of them came out on the bus ride to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And like so people were like in different buses.
Yeah.
And like I found out about Julie being pregnant. I was like, oh my god! Like she's like on the other bus, and like I walk out where at Universal Studios, I see her. I'm like, for show.
I'm pretty sure I texted you after that. I was like, is that real?
So many
you were
people,
like,
like the girls from the Capital volleyball team, like their moms were texting me and texting my mom, like, is this real? Like,
but your parents knew before that.
Yeah, I told my parents the day before Mother's Day. So
Happy Mother's Day.
Day. I'm a mother.
You're a grandma.
I told my parents first, and then I told my siblings and stuff later.
Yeah.
So like I let them have a little bit more time, like, and ask them like, how should I approach this? Like, how should I be telling other people? And with the confession thing, I was like, I'm gonna post it on Twitter, just like my ultrasound, and they were like, that's your choice.
Your
like,
call.
You decide how you wanna do that.
Well, that's a dope way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the other thing too. Like, we're not trying to exploit this story, right? What we really want to know is, I think, especially for us in this room and many people watching, is that what happened to you is a big fear that a lot of people have, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this is a great opportunity to, number one, learn your story, because there's great inspiring aspects of it, and to educate people on like, okay, well, this is probably what you shouldn't do, and if this happens, this is what you should do, and just kind of educate them in this realm of possibility, even though I think a lot of people fear that this could happen. But again, it's life, and I think you're someone that really embraces the fact that we're humans, that happened, this is a part of the way that we deal with it, and just being able to educate people and tell them your story, I think, is just something you want to make clear right off the bat.
And a lot of people say like, don't normalize teen pregnancy and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not encouraging girls
Of
to
course.
go out and whatever. It's like, this is just what happened to me, and you can't, like, I'm just making the best out of the situation.
It's happening, so why be negative about it?
Like,
and one thing I remember always talking to you is like, I want to be like a mom.
Yeah.
That's something you're always looking forward to. So I mean,
I've always wanted to be a mom, so it's like, in this situation, like, how could I not be happy to, like, I am a mom now. It's not the time I planned it to be, but it's still like, it's still my child, and I still love this kid, like, I'm so happy.
I'll throw an overlay while she's talking of right here over the baby, a picture of him, so you can get a little.
His name's Micaiah.
Micaiah. He's gonna be
a
hell of a stud.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that right now. So we're gonna take a break right now. So everyone on Instagram, make sure you check us out on the YouTube link above to hear the rest of Jolie's story. We're gonna be talking about her parents' reactions, her dealing with obviously sports and stuff, how that turned out, how you told coaches, how they reacted and stuff like that. The physical aspect of your pregnancy, how that really affected your body. And I think a big thing a lot of people are going to want to know too is the responsibility that you had to take to make this decision, right? And what changed as someone our age, 19, 20, 18, right? That goes from, oh, I lose my phone every fucking 5 minutes to, okay, I have a human life in my possession. So how did you change your way of responsibility that quickly, and how secure is it, right? I think a lot of people want to know about that. So if you want to hear about those things, hop on the link above, and the rest of the episode will be up there, and we'll see you over there. welcome back, guys. So we just heard about Jolie's general story, and it was definitely an interesting one. I think a lot of people thought maybe it was going in the same direction as Nathan. Like, yeah, I was a D1 athlete, broken records, but I was also pregnant, right? So yeah, this is definitely be an episode more about that. But we do want to hear about that transition because we do have a lot of, I think, people in high school. A lot of people in high school play sports. If you play high school in sports or play sports in high school, you want to go to college and play sports. So I think a lot of people can relate to his story, can relate to your story, and can kind of weigh all these things. But
Sports.
yeah. So let's talk about sports. So you broke records, right, while you were pregnant. Now that you say that so casually, like yeah. No, like what the hell are you talking about? Like what records which records did you break?
So I broke the high jump and triple jump record, and I got the long jump record my junior year, and then senior year was high jump and triple. Yeah.
So is that
jumping higher and you had extra weight?
Yeah, I guess.
So it's kind of like in all these anime shows and stuff. Where they'll like work out and fight, and then they'll take off like 1,000-pound weights, and then they're super jacked. Except it's a baby, so you can't really do anything after that for a while. But that would have been sick.
And you can't just take it off.
Well, yeah, you can't just rip it off and fall on the ground because it could die, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's so crazy though, and let's talk about your recruiting process. Kind of what I'm curious about with Nathan. Did you reach out to schools or did they come to meets and stuff? How does it work with track and stuff like that?
So with track, it's a lot easier to be recruited because you have a number mark. So it's I jumped this many feet, and then you can look at all of California. These are the top girl jumpers.
Yeah.
Based on numbers. Because it's for volleyball, it's you have to really watch them all play to see.
Yeah, you can't use their statistics.
So coaches can literally just look at top in California. These are the top girls. I'm gonna reach out to all of them. So it's
But you got to be on top first.
Yeah. So it's I would be competing with some of the top girls and go to invitationals and stuff. Arcadia is one of the biggest meets in the country. I was invited to that a few times. So. That's where a lot of coaches just come to watch you.
Yeah.
And then I think it was my junior year, my dad was you got to start reaching out to people because I was no, they're gonna come to me. I always thought oh, I'm pretty good. Coaches will just want me to go there. It's no, you have to make yourself known, especially because at Capo, our track program wasn't so great that oh, so many D1 athletes are coming out of here.
Yeah.
So it's schools Modern Day, that's where people kind of look more, but So I started to reach out to a few schools, and I got some replies, but it was the schools I really wanted to go to, I wasn't really getting the coaches they weren't really talking to me. Yeah. So and I was just okay, but the Long Beach coach, one of the coaches at Capo, he went to Long Beach, so he introduced me to that coach. I went on a visit there, and he made an offer, and I really liked that school. I really liked Long Beach, but then after I went to visit NAU. And I just wanted something kind of new because I've been in
a different vibe.
I've been in Southern California my entire life, so I was this is new, somewhere my parents can't just drive up and see me,
Yeah.
So I was I like this, and then for a while because they didn't offer me as much as Long Beach, so I was really do I want to be somewhere I really and really whatever, or just go to Long Beach? I really like the
have
program.
fun, more not have, but be more comfortable in the area. It's so cool that relates to everything we talk about, getting out of the OC bubble, doing stuff like that. And with Nathan, he made it a huge point, there's this huge myth that these coaches will reach out to you and that you're going to get it's all you being able to do that, reach out to coaches, call coaches, and do stuff like that. So I'm glad that these all relate and kind of check out for our viewers to trust us. This is how it goes. We've been through all of it, sports and pregnancy. So let's.
Well, I haven't been through pregnancy.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh. Well, then why are you here, bro?
One day.
Yeah. You gotta wait when the time is right.
Yeah, I haven't found the right one yet.
Dope. For sure. Well, so why are you touring these schools? You knew you were pregnant, or
no? When I went to go visit them, I wasn't pregnant.
Yeah.
So March of my senior year, I got pregnant. So when I graduated, I was 3 months pregnant. So it's just the first trimester out of 3 trimesters. So when I went to go visit the schools, I wasn't pregnant, but I felt something kind of like
Off.
yeah, like I just usually if I go somewhere like can see myself like oh I could see myself at this school, you know, but after that I was like I just don't see myself doing this. So I was kind of and those were like the main schools that I had like these are kind of my options was like the Long Beach and NAU. So I was like well I have to pick one, but I just was like I don't know, they didn't seem right to me. So when I like found out I was pregnant, I was like it just seemed like oh this is why.
This is why.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
I think it's like weird too. Like if you're feeling that kind of like natural urge, like maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Not even knowing you're pregnant, but like maybe that's like an instinctual hormonal release. Like no, you're like a mother now. Like you're not going to be going here doing this. Like there's something. And you know, I think it's weird that your body kind of like tries and tells you these things before you even know. It's definitely interesting.
And it definitely like hits you hard. Like when as soon as you see that positive test, you're like, my life is changing.
Yeah.
It's like it's not about you anymore.
Everything
so
is
like,
yeah. That's insane, dude. How about I'm really curious. Like, you know, so you committed to a school, and then you found out you're pregnant, and well, you knew you were pregnant, but you committed. Now, how did coaches take that when you told them like, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to attend?
Yeah. So I was committed NAU and so like I waited a while. I told my parents and I asked them like what should I do? How should I tell the coach? Whatever. And they said you don't have to give them any details because I was only verbally committed. Like I didn't sign any papers yet or anything. So it wasn't really like everything was all settled.
Like legally set, yeah.
Yeah. So I just called the coach and I was like, there's some family matter that there's a reason I can't. I didn't tell him exactly like I'm pregnant. Like I just said like there are some family issues that I can't go. Like I can't commit to going. And he was like fine with that. He's like okay. Like if hope everything's okay and whatever. So
yeah, I don't think there's much as a coach that they can do right except just accept what you're saying and just kind of deal with it. And you know, as a college, you know they have lots of options and students and athletes they can get. But that's just crazy to think about like making those calls and stuff. So that's definitely interesting. Now, I'm curious with your parents. Like, what do your parents do?
So my mom works with like electric vehicles. She just got a new job, so good for her. Yeah. And then my dad is a pastoral counselor. Yeah. So like when I was younger, we just grew up in the church kind of, and he was like counseling and being a pastor there. So it's like I've always had that like influence on my life. Yeah. So when I found out I was pregnant, it's like not necessarily what my parents want for my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I knew that, but then also I knew my parents love me, and no matter what happens, they're not gonna, disown me. They're not gonna kick me out. They're not. It's just like for them to come to the realization, like this is real. This is happening. Like, yeah. So it was just kind of breaking the news to them. It wasn't.
How did it go? I mean.
Well, I was like predicted to like go to pretty far in like CIF. Like I was hoping to get to state my senior year. Yeah. But it was I think the masters meet, which like is 2 before state, and we got back from that track meet, and I just like did horrible, like so bad, and my parents were like, you don't even seem mad, like what's wrong? Like I was just like, I'm done, like okay. And they're like, what's wrong? Like, and then we got a letter from Texas Christian in the mail saying like that they were interested in me and wanted me to go there and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, this is a great opportunity, Christian school, everything. And I was like, can we just sit down for a little, and I just want to talk to you guys about, because they like knew something was up. Like my dad even came to Capo once, and he was just calling me and like, hey, where are you? And I was like, oh, I'm about to go to track practice. I just sitting in my car, and he just like pulled up right next to me. And it was just like, how are you? Like, guess he knew something was off. Like, he could just tell. So it's like things like that. They just knew, like, there's something else going on, mm-hmm. but they just didn't know.
Didn't know what.
Yeah. So I just, like, had them sit down. And before, my mom was like, should I be scared? And I was like, I don't know. Like, that's up to you to decide. But, so I just sat them down, and I was just standing up. And I was like, and I had, like, the pregnancy test in my pocket and everything. And I was like, so... as you guys know, like, I've been just whatever, and I was like, well, because I'm pregnant, and they were just like, like my mom started crying, and then my dad was just like, come here, like sit down, and I just like sat between them. I was crying, and then they were just like hugging me and everything, and like it's gonna be okay. And I was like, but like by then, I came to like the like
you accepted it yourself.
I accepted it. So then they had to go through their whole process of like, which is normal. Like of course they're like
definitely
So so it was like the first few weeks after that were a little rough, especially Mother's Day the next day.
Yeah.
And only my parents knew, my siblings, no one else in my family knew, so we all went out to eat, and it was just like my dad was like saying a prayer like to all the mothers and soon to be like and everyone was like they don't know like to my mom, and I like got a huge plate of food and my mom's like we need for two like
oh my God.
So like they
started fucking around with you early.
So I don't know, it was like I think my dad had a harder time just because like he kind of had all these ideas of what he
expectations for what he wanted for you.
Yes, and it just like for his little girl, like, I don't know, it was just different.
I feel like it's always hard on the dad.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. Because the mom understands it, because she's, like, has been through pregnancy and stuff, and knows how to, like, deal with it, but the dad's like, oh.
I think it's also, like, a familial structure, right? Like, you know, father wants to protect, father and mother, but, you know, father really wants to protect her daughter from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes guys, that includes drugs, that includes every possible harm that can be done to their daughter, right? And I think it's totally understandable and makes sense that, you know, he would be more protective, or at least more, not more hurt, but just more affected by it, you know?
Yeah.
But also I think it's really cool that, because I think, all right, so your dad's a pastoral counselor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people maybe jump to the conclusion like, oh man, like that's bad, like that's worst possible scenario. She's pregnant, her dad's in a church, like this is tough. But I like how your story and kind of the way you're describing it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that they took out, you know, parts of Christianity that still apply to the situation. Like, no, you love no matter what. Like you love no matter what happens to your child, and like you keep this familiar structure no matter what problems come. And they kind of put those values above maybe a value of waiting until marriage. Like, sure, that has been broken, but there's still every other Christian and moral value in their lives that's important to them that they have to apply. Now, that's not just one thing that cancels everything out and now you're out of the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's really respectable that like you guys are able to deal with it in that way. And I think, I mean, like what would your advice be for someone that's watching? I mean, you never know if someone watching out pregnant and have to tell their parents like what advice would you give them to either not be scared or how they should do it, do you think?
Yeah, well, a lot of people like reach out to me and like people I don't know, just saying like, how did you do it? Like I need help. And it's like, you can't really control what anyone else thinks about you. It's like if you, like when I got pregnant, I was like, I want to be a mom, like I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
So if anyone else didn't agree with that and called me names or did all that whatever, I'm like, well, I'm happy, like, and this is what I want for my life. So if you can't accept that, then that's your issue, not mine. So it's like I would just say come, like, be okay with it yourself before telling other people. So like you can cope with it. Like of course I had like some close friends I told because it's good to talk to someone.
Of course,
I'd be able to process
it'd be really
it.
tough to hold that in.
Yeah. So it's like, that's good to have someone you can trust to talk about it, but then once you have a clear mind on everything and know what you want, then you can really tell people and like this is my decision, I'm happy about it, and this, everything like that, and it's like, give them the opportunity to either support you or not, like, because you can't make anyone
I think that's definitely a good way to go. So tell me I get this right, if I were to get pregnant, right? So I just want to fully understand this because I think a lot of people want to know this answer, because even if you're pregnant later in life, right, like going through this is going to happen, right? So first you find out you're pregnant. You need to accept that that can't change, right? You're pregnant. There's nothing you can do about it. Your life is about to change drastically forever, okay? Once you accept it, you have to make a decision what you're going to do. Obviously you chose life, which is great. And I think there's a lot of, obviously that's very hot topic we're not going to get too deep into, but then you have to make a decision like, okay, are we going to have this baby, are we going to put it for adoption, are we going to go another way? And once you decide, you accept, then you do what you were just saying, which I think is a great way of looking at it, is like, I'm fine with it, like this is what I'm doing, and then you put it out to other people, your inner friends, your family, every person that's kind of connected to you, and get their reaction. Accept it or don't, and if you don't, by, right? Like this is what's happening. I've already made a decision. I've already said exactly. So I think that's super. I think you did a very mature way of handling it, and I'm glad that it went smoothly, I guess. But
I also think it's interesting. Like people are so scared. Like if a girl's like a teen pregnancy, to tell their mother, and it's like I feel like a lot of moms at first would be like, no, like don't do that. But when it happens, it's a completely different reaction.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, let's deal with it now. Like it's not like I'm mad at you. It's not nothing like that. It's let's.
I think it's really different for every family, right? Because there are going to be families that are like, get out, like, you're done.
If you think you're an adult, then you go be an adult.
Exactly. I think there's a lot of reactions, and I think to an extent there's validity in all of them, but I personally like the way that you and your family handled it and upheld those morals to keep you involved, right? So that's super dope. And with your friends too, that was the other thing, is like, I know we were talking about this a little bit, like you were able to find out which friends were real, which friends stayed by your side and accepted it along with you, that you were going to keep this baby. Like how's that for you with your friends?
Well, you definitely, like the close friends that I told first, they're like, we already started doing the like old wives' tales in the hallway at Capo, like, oh, is it gonna be a boy or a girl, like things like that. And it's like, those are the type of friends where like they supported me right from the start, because they're like, this is your choice, and like whatever you decide, I'm gonna support you.
Control your life.
Yeah. And then there's other people who I just didn't even tell until I told everyone, because I'm like, I know they're not gonna be happy about this, just for multiple reasons. But then, everyone had a lot to say. There's people I didn't even talk to or know. Like, I would hear things that they say, and I'm like, okay, like, and I call certain people out, but then other times I'm just like, that's for you. But then, there's like certain people who just stop talking to me and whatever, but I'm like, if you don't want to talk to me and be involved, then I'm not gonna, like,
you don't need to force them to be around you and stuff,
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm curious why people would like just stop talking to you. Like I don't, we've been friends since forever, right? And I think that's so strange that something like that could change that, And so what about so your friends, they accepted you. What about like I think it'd be dope to get into the physicality of your pregnancy, the physical strain on your body, on your mind, with track, and like the physical parts, like there's stretch marks, like the things people are interested in about like the physical aspects of it. What would you have to say?
Well, I think at the beginning, the hardest part, like first trimester, you're just exhausted. Sometimes you get sick and stuff. I had a pretty easy pregnancy. I didn't get morning sickness or anything. I could still go to school, but I was just exhausted and still running track. Like I would sleep like 12 hours and stuff, and it was like, that's where my parents kind of like, something's up there.
Yeah.
But so like that was like the hardest part at the beginning, but then once I graduated, then it just like the body changes. Like by the end of the pregnancy, I was 172 pounds, which the heaviest I've ever been, and I hope to ever be. But and like usually during track season, I'm like 145, trying to get to like 150 of just like muscle. And I've always been strong, athletic, like body type, like I had a six pack like all of high school, and like I was just solid. Yeah, so it's like having a baby definitely changes all of that, like the weight gain, the everything. And like even now, I don't have time to just go work out, and like as much as I'd like to be able to go to the gym, it's like I don't really have that. I can't really do that unless I and gotta get a babysitter, gotta like all this stuff.
Strap the baby on and go.
It affects your life in every way, whether it's working out to keep that weight down. Like, well, maybe you can't go and run as much or go to the gym as much because you have to watch a baby. So something that's really interesting about this is, I'm not going to take a stance on body shaming and stuff like that, but when someone gets really large, most of the time they can control that. They eat a lot of food, they can work out, they choose not to, whatever. Like, it's in their control, okay? But when you get pregnant, you can't control how big you get. You can't control how much weight you gain. You can't control those things. So, like, I'm curious how you're able to just accept it and still be confident with your body. Because, you got a great body, and you've always had, like, a nice, fit physique. Well, I'm just saying, like, it's great that you've been able to, like, get back to that so quickly. And I'm curious, like was it hard to, like, accept the way that you looked, or was it easy, or how did that work for you?
Well, since I've always like had such like an athletic body type that I've been like proud of, you know,
Yeah.
it was definitely kind of hit me hard. Like even in the beginning when I wasn't really gaining weight too fast, I was like, I'm gonna have to accept this, and like I'm gonna have a lot of changes, and you know I'm gonna have to get used to something different than I've like had my whole life, you know. So like my first and second trimester, like the first 6 months, I I was still working out, so I did track, and then I was still could work out and stuff. By the third trimester, I was huge. I was, you know, got stretch marks, gained a whole bunch of weight, and it was like I was just too tired to do anything.
Jeez.
So, and like sometimes I would just look at myself like, ew, like, you know, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But then it's like I'm giving birth to a life.
Yeah.
Like
Stress
I will
back.
I'll take any body changes.
And it's uncontrollable too.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, and as soon as when he was born too, I'm like, this is all for a reason. Like,
So it's worth it.
yes, so worth it. And even now, like, I still have stretch marks. Still, like, everything changes. Like your hips get wider, your everything. But it's like,
What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, I did it for a reason. Like,
I think that's definitely something that, you know, women watching are going to experience at least some point, most of them at some point in their lives, sooner or later. And I think that's just advice they can take to kind of be able to accept themselves once they become that condition, right? We can talk more about that. We'll be coming right back from this break. We'll talk about the future of your kid, future of your future athletically, and where you're going to go with college and stuff. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, for our last segment with Jolie. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Great episode so far. I think a lot of good conversation about the life of a teen mom and how that kind of happened, right? We have Garrett Zach on tech, which is a new thing for today because our boy Kevin is not available. But
Say what's up, Garrett.
What up?
all right, let's get rolling. So, first question I have, or not first, but a question that popped into mind over a break, is breastfeeding. How does that work, bro? Like, does that hurt? Is it weird? Like,
well, the first while, like after you have your baby, a lactation consultant will come in, which like they basically help you because
like learn how to do it.
yeah.
Like from The Office. Like, remember the guy? Like, you seen The Office?
Yes, I've seen The Office.
To like get him to stick on her boobie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they come in to try to help you and stuff with that, and can be hard at first, and some babies have an issue with doing it, and that's like you can go to formula with that. But I really wanted to be able to breastfeed because it's just I've done my research on it, and it's the most natural, healthy thing for your baby. So it definitely hurts at first, but you kind of just the first week is the painful time, but you're like after that it gets better, you know. So I
mean, is it like relieving to like relieve pressure, or is it like
it can like if I were to not breastfeed for a few hours instead of because like now he'll eat every 4 hours about, and if he doesn't eat around that time, you can like there'll be a pressure and that you have to, you know. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain to someone who hasn't felt it or been through it because it's like something you can't really like.
I feel like
it's a different feeling.
I feel like though I could imagine what it would feel like.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, until it happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you think it would.
Well, it's just like, and it's just different. And then as soon as you give birth, literally your boundaries like out the window. Like someone comes in and just here you go, do the like, and you're just like, all right, like you. Just kind of let things happen, and I think through the whole being a mother, like even now it's like when my child's hungry, I'm gonna feed my child. If I'm in public and can't cover myself, it's like sorry, you want to hear a crying baby, or do you want to just get over that? Yeah. So it's like so like that's something kind of hard. Some people don't like that. Some people just whatever, you know. But that was just it's a different thing that most teenagers don't have to go through.
That's interesting.
How long are you supposed to breastfeed for?
Well, you can for as long as you want, but right now my son just turned 1, so I'm trying to wean him off.
Yeah,
baby food.
Well, just to like real food,
In and
because he can chew and he can eat like normal foods.
Chipotle,
Albert tacos.
As long as it's not a choking hazard, he can eat it. But but it's more of a comfort thing now.
Yeah.
Like babies will get comfort from that.
Uh-huh.
So that's like the hard part of weaning is like
Weaning?
weaning. It's like
Weaning?
getting them off of just breastfeeding to food.
Yeah.
So it's like instead of every meal of the day him being breastfed, now I'm trying to like
Like 1 meal a day, you get
Yeah.
him a PF change or something. Yeah.
You're gonna have to let me know the first time you're getting him carne asada fries.
What the
I want to be there.
I had French fries before. He
No,
loved them.
carne asada fries.
He needs to get a whole bite of guac, sour cream, cheese,
Steak.
steak, and a French fry in
Okay.
one bite.
And I have to see it.
Might be.
We can do it live on the show, 'cause
Okay.
I know everyone wants to see that.
Instagram live, baby's first bite.
All right, let's talk about what I was saying earlier, responsibility. Okay. So most people watching this are in the 15 to 24 age range, and there's a few older people. I think some people's parents like to check this out. Most of us are younger. Okay. And when you're younger, you're not necessarily more stupid. You're just learning, right? You're learning how
Not
to
as
be
wise.
responsible. Okay. And I've lost things. I'm sure everyone loses things, but now you have a child who is a live, living being. Okay. Because people watching this are our age, they know our perspective, responsibility. How does that change for you? To be able to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm not this responsible, but now I have to go 100%, no mistakes,
Well, I've always kind of been like a motherly.
figure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even with friends and stuff. I'm
Mom
kind
of the
one,
group.
Yeah, the one who takes care of everyone. But I think just like at least for me, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, everything's different now. Like I watched what I ate because I'm like it goes right to him. So I would try to eat healthier, try to exercise, just so everything is like good with him. And then when he's born, it's just like. I don't think about myself first anymore. I have to think about him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if I want to go shopping, it's like, okay, well, his nap time is this. He's going to have to eat at this time. I have to change his diaper and like everything I have to think about. It's not just like, oh, let me stop by here and let me do this. It's like everything, his day is planned. I know when he gets grumpy. I know when all this stuff, and you have to keep that in mind. So it's just like, it kind of hits you hard though. Like,
Yeah.
As soon as you have that baby and you see how fragile, just how small they are, you're just like, I don't want anything to hurt
Mm-hmm.
this child, so you do everything in your power to protect them.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes now, since my son can walk and everything, he'll fall and he's learning stairs and everything. So he will fall sometimes, which I'm like, that's part
It's
of
scary,
growing.
but
Yeah.
it's part of it, yeah.
But it's like, so I let him kind of have his errors, and like when he stumbles and everything, and I teach him, okay, get back up, like, and then he's learned that really well. He just gets back up, and I'm like, okay, good job, keep going. But it definitely, like, sometimes he'll fall and be like, oh my gosh, I just want to pick him up, but it's like I still have to teach him, like, come on, you got it, like, everything like that. But I still sometimes, every once in a while, think like just how, like, it's just different. Like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and look over him, is he still breathing? Like,
Yeah.
that's an every mom thing. Like, you have to watch them, like, okay, their chest is, okay.
Their belly is slowly
yeah.
rising.
There's, like, little things like that you still kind of, like, freak out about and stuff.
Did you learn CPR?
Yeah, I did, and, like, all the choking, everything like that, I gotta learn.
Yeah, I heard if a baby is choking, the best way to get the piece of food out of its throat
Go
is
in.
what?
What I learned in CPR is it's easier to go in and grab.
Oh no! So I'm talking about the centripetal force method, where you grab the baby by the ankles, and you swing it in circles as fast as you can until it flies out of its throat. So
No.
I was just wondering the validity on that. I read that somewhere.
I never learned that one, but well, like, there's been times where, like, when he's learning to eat, there'll be kind of like trial and error. He takes too big of a bite of something, and but if they're coughing and breathing, you try to let them get it out. But if they really are choking, you gotta, like, put them kind of where their head is down, where the gravity, if it gets
Like,
out,
pull
they
them
will
upside
fall
down?
out. Yeah, not all the way upside
Oh.
down, but just like leaning forward and
You're
then
never gonna
hitting their
take
back.
care of your baby.
Well, my baby chokes. He's just gonna go for a joyride, and it's gonna be awesome.
It's
gonna love roller coasters.
I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna fly out, fly right back on the plane. He's gonna eat it again, and this time it'll be mushy, so it'll be fun. All right. How much of your life changed? How much? No, seriously. How much of your everyday life has changed? Is different now because there's another being in your care?
Basically everything.
Yeah.
Like, because before my whole, like, basically my identity was like, I'm an athlete, I do sports, that's who I kind of was.
Mhm.
And then that all just stopped
Yeah.
kind of suddenly. And so now it's like, my identity is I'm a mom. And sometimes that can be hard, like, who am I besides my child?
Mm.
But then, like, that's something you kind of like, when they're young especially, it's hard because, like, all your focus is on them. And it's like, you don't really have time for yourself as much.
Yeah.
And that can be hard on some people. But it's just like, everything is different because
Yeah.
it's like, I can't, even if I have to stop at the store and get something, like I said, it's like, it's not as easy as I'm going to stop by on my way home. It's like, he's mad, I don't want him crying in the store, so I'm going to go home instead and like I'll get something later. Like, things like that, you just have to,
Take into account.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe you haven't experienced it yet, but I think as your baby will get older too, not necessarily more independent, but just like older, like a little more mature, not crying all the time, not being super dramatic with every single thing, right? I think it's going to make things a lot easier. You know, around like 3 or 4, you can, like, okay, yeah, I can't go to the store. You can just walk next to me and we can go in there.
Well, you got the terrible twos.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's still got a lot to go, but I'm saying, like, I think that's something to look forward to is, like, you're talking about you're kind of losing, or a lot of parents experience, like, losing their identity because it's all focused on them. I think there is a point when your child is old enough where you can kind of get that back and let them start beginning their own, right?
Building themselves.
Yeah,
like their own-
so I think that's definitely a cool thing that parents can look forward to. And I could be totally fucking wrong because I'm not a parent, but that's what I would suspect.
I think at every age there's a new difficulty, no
Yeah.
matter, like, being a teen mom, being a mom,
Yeah.
when, you're planning for it, there's always
something.
Yeah, like, you can never really predict what all is going to happen. Like, even my mom has had 4 kids, and now even with her grandchild, things are different. Like, she thinks she knows all this stuff, but it's like every kid is different, so
Yeah.
every experience, like, you learn all about it. So it's like right now he just turned 1, so it's like there's certain struggles, him being able to walk, him being able to just all this stuff. But then within the next year, there's going to be, I won't have to worry about certain things, but I'll have to worry about different things.
Yeah.
And it's still just learning through the whole process. So it's
Yeah.
like there's always something you have to keep in mind and learn and everything. So
One of the most interesting things to me and like things I look forward to for like being a dad is like when you have a kid and like now you have like not like the power, like your responsibility to like form the character and like form who they are and instill the morals and the values. It's like I think that's so interesting. Like the teaching, like every day, like you're trying to teach them like how to do this, how to do that. I think that's like really
It's
interesting.
definitely exciting, but it's also scary.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Because
am I doing it right? Like,
because number one, are you doing it right? Number two, even if you did do the best you could do, you did the best
Everyone's
job you
different.
think you can do, your kid could not, live up to those standards, live
Yeah.
up to those morals that you've tried to teach them, and that could be, it's a high stake process if you hold that to yourself, like he has to be this way. So I think being aware, like, okay, yeah, I want my kid to play baseball. I want my kid to go to a great college and do all this stuff. But maybe, he doesn't want to play baseball. Maybe he doesn't want to play sports at all. I think it's something that, I think about a lot, or I think everyone thinks about a lot in this room, is like, we have these expectations for them, but are they going to fulfill them? And I think that's a great transition into our next thing, which is like, what are your expectations for your son? Like, he's going to be a sporty guy. I mean, what do you see in the next 10, 15 years? For
as an athlete, I would want him to play sports. I think that would just be fun. But then if he says I don't want to play sports, then I'm like, okay, if you don't want to play it, I'm not going to force you to do that, because I know that can people. Oh, I hate my mom. She's making me do this, and I don't want. It's like, no, whatever makes you happy. If you want to play chess, I will come to all your chess matches and be your number one supporter. Like, whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do, like, I'm going to support. If you choose to go play sports, awesome. Like, that's fun, and I live that life, so I can really
relate to it.
relate and
Help
be
you with
into
that.
that. But you can't.
You can't force it.
yeah,
It's important to like not set necessarily expectations
Yeah.
in that thing,
Mhm.
but expose them to different things that you had interested in, and just let them feel
And hope
how
that they
they're
like
on.
it. Yeah.
yeah. And you have to balance like pushing him. Like if he decides to play sports, pushing too hard or not pushing enough. Like because if you push too hard, sometimes you're like I'm done. I don't want to do
Burnt
this
out,
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like things like that. You just kind of have to learn the boundaries. Like,
Mhm.
but you kind of have to learn that throughout the years.
Through
and-
doing it and
yeah.
like trying, like okay,
Mhm.
I pushed him really hard in this game. I'm not gonna do that anymore because that didn't go well. So it's just learn and live, right? Yeah, that's definitely interesting. And I think he'll be a great athlete. Hopefully he ends up at Capo or SM. As long as he doesn't end up at Mission, dude, we're gonna be chilling. Any Mission kids, I'm not sorry. But
If he's a football player, his best route is probably to go to Mission.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Years.
Well, yeah, it's a long time away.
maybe he'll be. Yeah, maybe Mission will be gone by then, and then he can,
Hopefully, it just blows up.
Well, as of right now, he seems pretty athletic. He started walking at 8 months, which is pretty early.
just get him on the treadmill, bro.
How do you do jumps? Do you throw him over
Yeah,
the high jump
yeah.
and get
He's
him
learning to
used
kick a soccer ball now. He can
Oh.
kick things. He can, yeah. So I'm trying to teach him things like that.
When he's ready, we can take him to the beach, do some beach volleyball. I'll hit some down balls at him.
You could dig, yeah.
They could dig with his big head.
You say he's a big head?
All babies have
Yeah.
big heads.
You have a big head.
You have a big head.
We have big heads.
Jolie doesn't have a big head.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So maybe he won't have a big head.
We'll see.
Dope. For you too, now, like we said, you want to live your life and also nurture his. But for you, what do you see in the near future, right? Are you planning to get back in shape and get back on the track and possibly go down that athletic route again? Or are you just settling with, not settling, but accepting this life and
Yeah.
making the most of it? Or are you just going to try to go to college? What's your plan for the next few years?
Well, so I want to go back to college.
Yeah.
I might just go to community college, and then there still are some coaches who want me to play or want me to run and stuff.
Really?
But I think if I play a sport again, it's going to be volleyball because I've always loved volleyball. I was good at track, but volleyball has been my favorite forever.
It's so
So
fun.
I'd rather play at a D4-5 school, than be at a higher level playing track just because
Yeah.
I love volleyball. So if I have the time to do that, I would love to play again. But we'll see where that takes me, where in the next few years where I'll
Yeah.
be. And then, like career-wise, I think I'm gonna study to become like an English teacher for like high school students, and then be
Oh.
able to coach at a high school, either coach volleyball or track. I think that'd just be fun because I think coaching is something I really want to do. But then also I just like kids, and I like high school teachers always had a big impact on my life.
Mm.
And like during the time when I was pregnant, no one really knew. There was always teachers who like could see something was up and were supporting me and everything, and just like, oh, I hope everything's okay. So I like want to be able to do that for other kids. And then I mean, if things were perfect, I would just be a stay-at-home mom with like 6 kids. But
Yeah.
that's not realistic right now. So gotta go to school.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think teachers are such an interesting.
When you get a good
Profession.
teacher that has like a big impact on you, it's one of the biggest role models in your life.
You don't forget them, right? And I've taught at churches, and I worked at Boys and Girls Club for a while with like recreation teams. So I've had multiple instances where I was in charge of groups of kids, middle schoolers, high schoolers, for long periods of time, where I was like teaching them things about life. And something I noticed was when I was a kid going through these things, these counselors and teachers had such big impacts on me. Like I can remember every teacher, like I can remember the big lessons that they taught me, and they seemed like these huge figures in my life. But being a teacher, you don't feel that with every student. You're just kind of talking, but you're also aware and realizing like, shit, like I'm becoming what
I looked up.
I looked up to
And I can
these
relate
kids.
to that through being the volleyball coach. It's like
Yeah.
when you're coaching kids, like I made it a big goal to keep like the respect, like the kids to me as a coach,
Mhm.
but to also be comfortable to like come and talk to me about anything.
Yeah.
But you notice like when you're coaching kids, like I had a lot of freshmen and sophomores that they mimic a lot of your like. If you're at practice, you're doing something and you're like joking around, they'll mimic like what you're doing because they're trying to look for like a role model. If they like you and stuff, it's like you have a big impact on who they are, who they're becoming, and you don't think about it because you don't have one teacher. It's not like you have a bunch of students, so
Yeah.
it's different. Like they have a more one-on-one
They're
relationship.
so formidable too, and I think that's awesome for you to want to be a teacher and be able to do that. And something that's always interested me, and like I'm always willing to help teach and help lead people because I think we're all good at it, and that's why we have this show to educate and help lead you guys in your struggles and learn about different people's life stories and how you can either do it the way they did it or do it differently and learn. And I think it's a great experience, and that's why we're here today. Is there anything else you want to ask her about her story?
I think you got it all.
Anything
Good
else
job.
you want to add?
I think you were asking the hardest part
Yeah,
about it.
definitely. What
Yeah.
would you say is the hardest
I
part?
said a little bit about it, but I think the most difficult part was like finding out who you are, aside from like spending 24 hours a day with this one person. And it's like now when I see people, it's like, oh, how is he out? Like everything. So it's more everything's about him, which is like great. You know, he's
Yeah, of course.
like, and then but sometimes it's like you have to find out who you are. Like at a young age, like who am I besides this amazing
Mom.
child?
Yeah.
You know, and
Especially at your age.
yeah, especially being a teen mom, people, oh, she's the one who had the baby, like,
Yeah,
and it's like I want to be known for,
More than
like,
that.
I'm glad to be known for him, like he's a great child, you know, everything, I love him, but then there's also like,
hey, I
Yeah,
broke
learning.
track records.
yeah,
Like, there's a lot more to me than just being the kid in high school who ended up having a baby.
and just like growing up too, like who am I gonna become?
Yeah.
Because I'm still basically a kid, like
Yeah.
I'm still learning things too, like.
Mhm.
So it's like throughout my life, I'm going to be learning, like even with my son, we're going to be learning together kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'll be like a cool enough mom where it's like, we're going to be able to communicate, like not like I'm the authority, where it's like, I'll come down to you and like, we'll be able to reach an agreement like together, not like, I'm your mom, you just listen to what I do. I'm going to say, well, why do you want to do this? Why, you know, like so I can understand.
I think that's definitely something dope that comes from one, you being so young, being able to like, you know, because when your kid's 18, you'll be in your early
Right.
30s,
We're
right?
exactly 19 years apart.
Yeah.
So
So that'll be a dope like youthful connection to have with him and him to have with you. And I think our generation as parents is going to be different than, you know, every generation is different, but I think ours is definitely going to be a lot different than what we experienced and then our parents experienced with, you know, their parents. But I think
One more question I just thought of as you were talking there. Being so like young and being at like the age, has it changed your outlook on the way you see things affecting you in the do you see things now that you're going through in the way of like, this is how I want to like relate things to my kid, like as a mom? Obviously you see things as a mom now, but like, do the things that you're going through, like, do you see it differently in the terms of like, okay, when my kid's going through this, now I know how to like relate it to him or like teach him?
Well, it's like certain, like with relationships, even like friendship type things, I always think like, what would I want my son to do? Because it's easier to tell someone else like, hey, those aren't good friends to hang out with or whatever. It's like easier to say that, but if you're in a situation, it's different. So like, I think people who are around me or in my life or choices I make, like, would I want my son to make these choices? And I'm like, it's probably wouldn't lead to the best thing or this, you know, things like that. So it helps me decide kind of what I want to do and what, like, because everything now, like, I think about him. So it's like when I pick a career path, when I pick, like, everything like that, I also have him in mind. Like, and with the sports thing, even, like, if I want to play again, it's like, well, he's my priority. So it's like if I can't find someone to watch him, it's like, then I'm not going to play volleyball. Like, I sacrifice things like that for him.
Yeah.
And I hope he sees that, and like family, in my family, like family comes first, you know? So it's like I want him to see like my mom sacrificed things for me, I'll sacrifice things for my family. So it's like I just want him to be able to see me as a role model, like I see my mom do that, so this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, definitely. And as I was saying, like, kind of relates back to this is, I think our generation is a lot less authoritative and more, not understanding, but like, we're not going to be the ones imposing these tough regulations, rules, being strict. I think a great word for it is compromise. I think our generation is very good at finding, not solving problems ourselves, but trying to find common ground in tough situations. And I think, you know, with a mom and a kid, that's important, is finding that common ground and making
Both
compromises.
parties happy.
And making both parties as happy as possible before, things get out of hand and it becomes too authoritative or strict. Definitely something I'm looking forward to. Your kid was over here last night as we were talking about the episode today, and very cute.
Cute little baby.
Yeah, and I'll throw a picture up here right now. Baby. Yeah,
It
so
says hot.
yeah.
He knows a few words. He was hot, mama, dada.
Yeah.
Hi. He can
Hi.
say hi.
He's trying
Didn't
to high
give me a
five.
high five.
Yeah, he's trying
He
to give
was
us
a
high
little shy
five.
last night.
I
Yeah.
think he was overwhelmed by
Yeah.
her greatness. No, it's definitely dope. It's great having you in today. Do you want to drop your Instagram or TikTok or anything?
Well, basically all my social medias are Joe Rob, JO_RAWB.
Joe Rob. Check her out. Follow her on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at BeyondTheTable.podcast. We'll be coming out with some new episodes next week. Hopefully you stick around and check them out. And this has been a great time. I'm really glad you were able to make it today.
Thanks for having me.
Dope, dude. All right. I'm Kobe.
I'm Ignacio.
I'm Jolie.
Thanks for watching Beyond the Table.